everybody, and welcome back to All Things Female. Okay, cool. Stitch! Okay, cool. Today we're going to be chatting about the 7 weight loss myths. Okay, so I have asked you guys what you would preferably like to see, and a lot of you said that you would like to see a series on fitness. I'm starting this series off on nutrition because I believe that weight loss and fitness is 80% nutrition and what you eat and 20% of actual working out. Okay, so because this is a fitness and health series, I just want to let you guys know I am qualified to talk about this. I have a BSc degree in human movement sciences and physiology. Okay, so with that being said, I just want to put in a quick disclaimer that if you're ever going to follow advice about what to do with your body, make sure the person has some sort of qualification. Let's get this straight. Okay, if you have competed and if you have been on a weight loss journey for yourself, what worked for you does not make you qualified to give nutrition advice. If you have lost weight yourself and it's something that has worked for you, that is fantastic, but unless you're a professional in the field, that's your own personal experience. Also, if you guys watch fitness bloggers or lifestyle bloggers or whatever, and they say this is what I do to lose weight and this is what worked for me, make sure that they have some sort of a qualification to back that up, because this could potentially be harmful to you or potentially harmful to them without them even realizing it. And also, if you guys have any questions about any of the information I'm going to share with you guys, then you can follow me on Instagram and send me a DM, or you can just pop into the comments below and ask a question. Myth number 1, no carbs will mean more fat loss. Firstly, this is not true at all. So for you to lose more fat, you need to create a calorie deficit, in short. Basically what that means is you need to burn more energy than what you're actually consuming. Normally when we create a calorie deficit, we basically cut from carbs and from fats. So yes, you are going to cut out some carbs and some fats, but you're not going to be cutting them out fully. We try and keep protein constant so that you can maintain your muscle mass, prevent muscle loss, and protein also makes you feel more full for longer. Okay, so with that being said, carbs are brain fuel, which means that your brain mostly runs on the glucose that it gets from carbohydrates. Therefore, if you're not getting enough carbohydrates, you're going to have a decrease in your brain function, and your brain is also not going to function at its optimal capacity. Now, moving on to the effect that this decreased carbohydrate intake has on your muscles. So when carbohydrates come in, they are stored in the form of glycogen in your muscles. If you cut out these carbs completely, over a long period of time, your glycogen stores will be completely depleted. This will cause you to have a decreased performance in the gym, and it will also cause you to have no muscular pump in the gym. Carbs are the preferred fuel source for high intensity exercises such as weight training and sprinting. So if you're not taking in enough of these, it will decrease your performance, and this is obviously due to the fact that there's a decrease in the fuel source for that activity. Now you might see a decrease in your scale weight from cutting out carbs. This is predominantly because when glycogen is stored, it stores 3 to 4 grams of water as well. So what you're seeing is a predominant loss of water. With that being said, we need to realize one key principle, and that is scale weight is not body fat loss at all. If you're losing on the scale, it doesn't mean that you're losing fat. Okay, moving on to myth number 2. Intermittent fasting is the best way to lose weight. This is a myth in terms of what I'm gonna say next. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but here we go. This is not entirely true, because if you are not in a calorie deficit and you're doing intermittent fasting, it is not going to work for you. What that means is, if you are not in a calorie deficit, you are not going to lose body fat, no matter how long you fast for. Now, for those of you who don't know what intermittent fasting is when you decrease your eating window, which means there's lots of different ways, but the main one is the 16-8. So basically where you'll fast for 16 hours and then you'll have an eating window of 8 hours. Now, the secondary effect that you might also experience when you're doing intermittent fasting is the fact that because you're only eating for 8 hours in a day, you tend to consume less calories because of the shorter eating period. So in that case, yes, it will work because of the calorie deficit, but that is a secondary effect. If you're just doing intermittent fasting and you're not creating that calorie deficit, you're not going to lose fat. So if this has worked for you, it's not because of the fact that fasting has got some magical powers to it. There are effects of fasting on your body, like it increases the secretion of norepinephrine, which is basically a hormone that boosts your metabolism, but this will also not work if you are not in a calorie deficit. With that being said, if intermittent fasting helps you with an insulin deficiency or balancing your blood sugar levels, or whatever it is, then it could have an effect inherently. But for most people, this won't work because they're not creating a deficit in their eating window. Moving on to myth number 3. You can target a certain place in your body that has stubborn fat, like the back of your arms fat, your lower abdomen fat, thigh fat, bum fat. This is a complete and utter myth. You cannot pinpoint and spot a specific place where you pick up fat and lose it. That just doesn't work. So basically, you can't spot reduce fat. You can't decide, I want to lose fat in my stomach, and it just matches. You do crunches and it goes away. This, unfortunately, is going to take dieting for a longer period of time and consistently working in a calorie deficit. So you can do crunches all day long or tricep dips all day long, and you're not going to get rid of that fat. A lot of people do exercises like tricep dips, for instance, and they think that by doing that they're gonna lose fat in that specific area, and that is not true. You will gain muscle in that area if you're doing the proper mind to muscle stimulation and your nutrition is right, but you are not going to lose fat in that specific area. So also, with that being said, you're not going to lose stomach fat by doing crunches all day long. Also, by doing body wraps and using a waist trainer. That stuff does not work to reduce fat. Okay, myth number 4. This is something that I'm really excited to talk about. Okay, so this is detox teas and cleansers, but these are specifically those slimming teas, slimming coffees. Guys, these do not work. Okay, so most of these teas and most of these coffees contain a specific ingredient that works as a laxative, okay, basically. So all you're doing is pooping everything out, okay? So you might see a difference in your scale weight. Again, scale weight does not mean that you're losing body weight, as in your fat, okay? So you're not pooping out the fat. You actually breathe fat out. Now, don't think you can sit and... No, that's also not gonna work. Hyperventilation, okay. If you guys wanna find out how fat is removed out of your bodies, check the link in my description. It is super interesting. But what I wanna say is there are a lot of harmful side effects to these certain teas due to the fact that they are full of laxatives and they make you go to the toilet a lot. This will cause your own digestive system and your own bowels to become lazy and dependent on these certain things, which will decrease your actual normal healthy functions of your bowels. And also, due to the fact that you're removing half your insides, it can cause dehydration. So no, just guys, don't do it. It doesn't make you slimmer, and it don't work. Just don't do it. Okay, so myth number 5. I have heard this a lot when people ask me about how to eat right, what to do, and most of the girls, I'm assuming I'm speaking predominantly to girls, but most people think starving is the way to go. You know what? Skip breakfast, skip dinner, skip lunch. This is so detrimental to you because of the fact that if you're skipping a meal, by the time you get to your next meal, you're so hungry that you end up overeating. Now, the effects of this might be, you know, the first 2 days will be good, but this is something that you can't sustain. So I don't recommend doing this at all. This is a very big myth. And if you do carry on doing this, it will cause you to crave really, really high sugary foods, and sugar is also very high in carbohydrates, which aren't good for you. So you're actually reversing the whole point of you actually doing the starvation method. And then a scientific fact is the long-term effect on doing these crash diets is actual weight gain. Myth number 6. Now, this is something that is very interesting and a lot of people will have a lot of questions on this, but people think by drinking water this makes you lose weight. Okay, no, it doesn't. But you should drink lots of water. So water keeps you feeling full, and sometimes we mistake hunger for actual thirst. So this can help you to snack less and also eat less. You need water, and it is an essential thing that you should be drinking over and above juices and sodas, but it is not something that's going to make you lose fat. If you want to lose weight, you need to drink water with a calorie deficit diet. Myth number 7. Low-fat and fat-free foods are the healthier option. Okay, so while they may contain more fats, they are 90% of the time a lot higher in sugar and a lot higher in unhealthy ingredients. Also, a lot of these products have very minimal CLA, which is a compound found in dairy fat that may cause you to lose weight. So let me give you some perspective before you start jumping to conclusions. Okay, so the perspective I have to give you is fruit flavored yogurt, non-fat, has 47 grams of sugar in, which is equal to almost 12 teaspoons of sugar. Now, when eating these certain things, these can cause you to be excessively hungry at certain stages because they're not nutrient dense and they're not causing you to be full, which will then lead to weight gain and some diseases. Okay, so my advice is to opt for whole milk or plain yogurts, but make sure you're also not consuming it in excess for your dietary requirements, because this will cause you to pick up weight. There is a link in my description about low-fat foods, low-fat drinks, coffees, all sorts of things. So if you guys want more information about that, check that link out. It is so interesting. And lastly, myth number 8 is juice cleansers and detox cleansers, and I don't even know what. Okay, so juice cleansers are not sustainable. That's the first thing I want to say. A lot of people tell me, I'm gonna go on a juice cleanse or a detox cleanse for a week or whatever, and that doesn't work. It is not sustainable. It can work in the sense of if you have a 2,000 calorie diet and you're consuming 1,700 calories of juice a day, you will see a significant change, but it's not sustainable at all. Due to the fact that it is not sustainable, it will cause you to gain weight over the long term. Once you do start eating normally again, you're gonna crave these excessively sugary, high carb foods and just overindulge, and it will cause weight gain. So I don't recommend these at all. And also, there is no scientific evidence to actually prove that these do remove toxins or detox your body. Your liver is good enough for that. So eating the right amount of food with a balanced diet will lead your body to detox by itself. So with that being said, we have come to the end of our weight loss myths. All the links are in my description about the information and scientifically proven results. So if you want more information on these topics, go check out the links in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, if you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And then I will see you guys next week for some more interesting content on fitness.